always a delight to have Bill Gallagher in the house because you never know what he's going to do.
Oh, boy.
No, anyway, he's head of and the founder of Teamworks, an organization that'll come into your organization and help you with all kinds of staff issues, good, bad, and indifferent. He can negotiate settlements, help increase productivity, and do some counseling on the side that hopefully will cause people to snap out of it.
There you go. That's
anyway,
the
you
goal.
go to teamworks-works.com.
Yes.
Teamworks-works.com. All right, today's topic, let me set this up, because I've been thinking about this when I knew you were coming in and what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the red personality. Now, Bill does this thing called Wired That Way.
Yeah.
You've been doing red, green, blue,
yellow.
All these years.
4 different temperaments.
And I have to tell you, folks, you can deny this all day long. It's not going to get you anywhere because you're going to be one of those or a combination of those. And it's just the way you were wired. And so through the years, people have figured out, what dominates you. You're obviously dominated by yellow.
Yeah. Well, we might as well tell them. Red is a visionary, top dog leadership. Blue is very organized and detailed. That's my wife, Jenny. Very organized, very detailed. A planner.
The planner.
Greens are very methodical. They're not highly emotional. They're very practical. They're very smart. They hate conflict. And I'm a yellow. A yellow is the best color. No.
Yellow is where's the party?
Yeah, where's the party? Yellows, we're very. We love people. I was a pastor 44 years, and I still love people. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Some of it's as a result of the personality, but we're kind of bubbly, and we love people, and we can be creative and a little scattered and unorganized. But I know that's shocking for you to hear.
I know.
So those are the 4, if you just understand them, because we're going to focus on a very important one today that has to do with the leader of our country.
He's a red. Now, we're not going to go anything political here. We're just dealing with who he is as a person. He obviously is a red. Now, what's so interesting about this, let me see if I can say this carefully, because I bumped into it a little bit over the weekend. People that hate him.
Yeah.
Okay. But what's interesting about people who hate him that are in the political arena, every one of them ran as a conservative to do what he is doing.
Yes.
But because he is doing it, it's not legitimate.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. And like Perry said, folks, my goal today is not to talk about different parties or current issues, but rather, this is very important.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a visionary and a leader. I call them reds. There's different names, different authors. Gary Smalley talked about the 4 different animals. I call them a red. We want to understand this morning how a visionary thinks. So that's another word for red. They're visionaries. They can project into the future, and they have a very clear picture of what change needs to be made, what needs to be done, and how to strive for excellence. Okay, so everybody that lives or works with our president is a red. Okay, we want to get into their head and figure out what motivates them and how they think. And so that's what I want us to talk about in our brief time this morning. What is behind his decisions? What drives this man? Why does he decide and negotiate the things that he does? Almost 100% has to do with how he's wired. It's his temperament.
Okay.
Okay, and everybody wants to know that live and work with reds, because sometimes they're hard to figure out and they're too intense. So I have good news for the listeners that want to know what makes this man decide on what he decides on.
A couple little quick questions.
Yes.
Is there room in a red's life for anybody else?
Well, sure. They're very loyal people. They're very dedicated people. The people that are in their circle, to the people that are in their family, to the people that surround them and come alongside them that hold their cause. Okay. Very, very bright. I mean, everything. I got a Wired That Way profile. Everything that it says about a red, both strengths and weaknesses, nails him to the T.
Okay, well, let's go down it.
He's very, very loyal. Okay, but before I do, I got to give an example, because this will really help everybody connect. So when I go, imagine that, huh?
No. Well, go ahead.
I'm an example guy.
Yeah,
so when I go into the workplace, Perry, what I have found through the years, that the thing that makes a staff at a company shudder is when the CEO, generally visionary, Red, announces they're going to go to a new computer program system.
Oh, geez.
I'm telling you, Perry, people hide under their desk. It's about a 1.5 year process. They bring in trainers to finally understand this new process. Now, usually that's a leader that makes that decision, and almost everybody in the staff hates it, questions his authority, thinks that he's bullying them because he's making these big decisions, and guess what happens? About a 1.5 years goes by, and those very people that hated his choice end up saying, it's the best decision our company ever made, and we are glad we're on this new computer program.
It does take a year. At
least a year.
At least a year.
Maybe a 1.5 years. So visionaries do that. They make fast changes. I mean, I have a whole list. This is not something I made up.
You know, I should have somebody else sit here now because it's getting
I'm
embarrassing.
blowing you away because you're a little bit red yourself.
Yeah.
But they make quick changes. They know where they're going. They have a vision. Now, I will say this, they need the other colors in their life. For example, they need the detailed planners. Visionaries are excellent on spotting a direction to go for greater excellence. These are words that I've been saying for years. But they need the detailed planners to get them there.
Okay.
So one of the things that leaders like this also do is, guess what? They surround themselves with smart, intelligent, goal-setting people that know what they're doing. Reds have a high appreciation and respect for those who actually know what they're doing and are competent in their trade.
So is that why President Trump uses the word smart?
Oh, absolutely. I know exactly what he means when he says that.
Yeah, that person is smart, that person's stupid. I mean, he doesn't even hold back. He literally says that person's smart, that one's stupid.
Yeah, but I think when a red talks about smart or intelligent, it's not like the opposite of dumb. What he's saying is, in their trade and the role that I'm asking them to fulfill ranks at the top.
They qualify.
They qualify, but way qualify.
Okay.
And if they start to show incompetence or a lack of loyalty to him or any red, they're not long for being on that team.
You see that a lot with him. If they are not loyal to him and his agenda, he goes after them.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Well, that's typical. That's typical.
But then I've seen him go after people and then turn around and try to make amends.
Yeah, and negotiate with them and bound. Reds they have a lot of vision. They have a lot of ideas. Now, not all of them come true. Most of them do. I must say this for every red I've met. Most of them do. But if they don't, because nobody's perfect, if the vision doesn't come true, their personality bounces back quicker than any other personality, and they're going to either plan B or they're creating a new plan A really quick. So they don't grovel. They don't get depressed. They bounce back and go for it from a different angle.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go down the list here because I have some questions.
Okay, so one of the ways to motivate a red, so if you work for a red, you live with a red, even if you got a red 16-year-old, okay, one of the ways to motivate a red is to understand, maybe not a 16-year-old because they don't deal with a lot of finances, but the two things that motivate a visionary, we'll go back and forth between visionary and red, same thing. One of the things, if you work for a person like this, if your spouse is a person like this, if you are on a team at work and there's several people like this, and they're hard to understand because they appear intense, okay? One of the ways to get them to perhaps consider another idea or change their mind, it has to be motivated for a red through facts and finances. I mean, that sounds like him too. I mean, your facts better line up. They better be logical. Matter of fact, a lot of visionaries, if you have a different idea that you want to introduce to them regarding the plan or the new vision, I'm telling you, almost every time they're going to want it. They're going to want you to prove your idea. If you say something like, well, I just feel this is a better idea, they'll say, what are you talking about? I want facts, I want documentation, I want cases, like an attorney. And you have to prove to a person that's a red, any red in your life, why your idea is better, and then they'll go for it.
Okay, so be prepared.
Be prepared. Never, never try to motivate a person that's a visionary or has this type A dominating color that they need to change their mind because it's not fair. Or you think it's what has every red ever thought when someone said that's not fair?
Get over it.
They all, some of them are kind of classy and they don't say it, but everyone that I know that's a red thinks it.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
Get over it right now and stop whining about it.
Yeah.
That's what they say or think, no matter what. So you have to be intelligent if you want to sway a visionary's plan or idea and give them evidence and proof why it's a better way to go. And they actually respect that because they respect intelligence.
So are they the arbiter of determining who's smart?
Well, they have not only a good vision of what needs to be accomplished or what needs to be changed generally.
I mean, because they seem to be very arrogant.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's, we all have strengths and weaknesses. Guys, gang, it doesn't matter what your temperament is. Everybody that's ever breathed air has strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
Okay, I can go down the list of weaknesses. This is just classic. I'm not picking on him.
Yeah.
Most Reds' weaknesses are arrogant. They know it all. Nobody's telling them what to do. And by the way, if you really want them to motivate to do what you don't want them to do, just tell them they can't do something. And that's exactly what they'll do. Mm-hmm. So yes, he has weaknesses. I have weaknesses. You don't have any weaknesses. But one of the weaknesses of a red is arrogance or a sense of intimidation or bullying. Those are weaknesses of it doesn't mean they can't grow out of it.
There also seems to be a non-opening to be, how can I say it, accepted or considered. They'll listen to you, but they're not listening to you. They're so plugged into their plan, their way, that you're just a voice they have to tolerate while they're still going down this road.
Yeah, but if you can convince them that monetarily, overall in the big picture, monetarily, your idea is actually better than theirs, they will make that commitment.
Okay, good. Good.
And it has to be based on facts, not feelings. Just remember that. Just remember that's very important. So their motivation.
Let me stop right there. You are running the risk of proving them wrong, because there could be an ego thing here. You can come with facts and figures, and it could be embarrassing to them because you're right and they're wrong.
I think I would say a healthy leader.
Red would accept it.
Red would accept it. If it truly, I mean, they'd be impressed, first of all, but if it truly was an idea or a plan or a vision that was broader and more effective, because Reds strive for excellence. If it was broader and more effective and excellent than the Reds' original idea, they would make a change.
Okay. Good to know.
But they need facts and they need evidence, not just because it's your thought.
Okay.
Okay?
Man, you're making this person.
Oh my gosh. So this is a typical Red. Okay, I've already said they strive for excellence. They are known for giving strength and direction. Very quick on their feet and decisive. Now, there are other personality types that are processors. You ask them almost any question of what you want to do for the weekend or how much to spend, and they got to get back to you. You don't have to, when you ask a Red or a me, I'm a yellow. Okay, we're both quick on our feet, we're extroverts. Okay? You ask me how I feel or how he feels, and we don't have to process it. We don't have to think about it. We can tell you 5 reasons why we feel the way we do and say it right now. Because it's just right here. It's in the forefront of our mind. But other personality types that are very methodical, they're planners, they think it out. They need like 24 hours to process it. They don't want to get it wrong. Reds are pretty impulsive, but almost always, more times than not, nobody's perfect. They're actually right.
Okay, so will they let you in on their feelings?
Yeah, but you're not going to. They wouldn't even think about it as feelings. I think they would think about it as intelligence or goals or something to accomplish that's better for everybody. I don't even think they would refer to it. As a matter of fact, one of the weaknesses of a red is because of how they process. They're very logical. It's got to work on paper.
High logic, yeah.
One of the things that really turns them off, if you live with one, know one, is drama and being overly emotional. They can't understand it. They don't understand why this is happening. This is not the best way to reach me. Settle down. Let's talk about it when you're more ready. But it's kind of a turnoff to a red when there's a lot of drama and tears.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So they're very intentional.
Very intentional.
Are they as intentional as the yellow?
Yellows, I don't think the yellows have a whole lot of intentions at all.
Well, you're pretty intentional right now.
Oh yeah, that's because but I got a plan.
Okay.
I got a little, I call red jalapeno. I got just a touch of jalapeno.
Oh boy, do you.
Now I'm going to come back after break.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine just told me he just heard Bill O'Reilly, who was invited last week by Donald Trump to sit into the telephone conversation with Putin. And I want to report his takeaway on how Trump managed that as a leader and a visionary.
He invited Bill O'Reilly in to listen?
Yeah. To the phone conversation. He probably had a group in there, And Bill O'Reilly's take on it was pretty impressive.
Okay. We're going to take a yellow break.
That's a long one.
That's a long one. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Bill Gallagher's in the house, founder of TeamWorks, and you can go to teamworks-works.com. That's his website. There's a picture of the landing page, and he will come in and work with you and your team to increase productivity and maybe do a little in-house conflict resolving. It does pretty good. We're talking about reds today. It's a personality trait. It primarily describing President Trump. We're trying to understand through the pluses and minuses of a red and how to understand their thinking.
Yeah. They're visionaries, too.
So President Trump's on the phone call. He's talking to Putin about the war in Ukraine, and he's invited some people to be on the call. One of them was Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, he invited Bill O'Reilly. This is what my friend told me yesterday. He heard the interview of what Bill O'Reilly stated, how it went. And he's a very, very, dependable guy. And this is what he told me, because I told him what I was talking about today. He goes, really? And he goes, well, Trump has always been known as a man that makes awesome deals. He's a good negotiator. I've heard many moderators on there. And once again, I'm not trying to get political. I'm only talking about getting into the mind of a visionary in red. He happens to be the one that brought up the subject. Mr. Trump is not the one I'm talking about. But I'm talking about your family and the people you work with and the people that you don't understand or get along with, okay? So anyhow, this guy told me that Trump invited him to sit in on this discussion on the phone with Putin the other day. And apparently, Bill O'Reilly's a negotiator as well, does pretty well dealing and negotiating, what this guy said. And he said after that phone call, Bill O'Reilly says something to the effect, I don't have the exact words, but something to the effect that he is absolutely the best deal maker and negotiator I've ever seen in my life and heard in my life. So that is a strength of a red. They have the capacity, they have the, I wouldn't say winsomeness, but they have the intelligence to make deals, to counter offers, when to walk away. Very, very smart that way. Very smart that way.
Is anything good enough for a red?
Oh, sure.
You sure?
Yeah. I think something they accomplish. That sounds kind of typical too, doesn't it? Well,
was Apostle Paul a red?
Okay, Apostle Paul, I think he was, and this is why I think the Apostle Paul was a red. Earlier in his ministry, he did 3 different missionary journeys. Some people say 4. Okay. But it might have been his first missionary, I don't remember, journey, but he had Barnabas, son of encouragement. He was an apostle, too. Bring his cousin, John Mark, on one of the trips. He was a young man. He's probably 21. Okay.
And off they go.
And off they go to bring the gospel. Okay. And I don't know how long it took, maybe a week or 2. I don't really know. But John Mark, young man, he saw live and in color the type of persecution they were going to get. And he was so frightened that he told his cousin Barnabas, I'm going to defect, or I'm going to leave. I can't do this. It's over my head. And so he, call it defected, call it went AWOL, call it what you want to call it.
Okay.
Well, a couple years later, Paul the Apostle and Barnabas are sharing the gospel all over the place, and Barnabas asks Paul, a red, I assume, if he can give his cousin another chance. He said, no way. This is Acts chapter 15, folks, if you want to look at it. No way. He defected once, I'm done with him. He walked out on us, I'm done. Well, fast forward about 25, 30 years, in Paul's last letter is 2 Timothy. He writes in chapter 4, Luke is there, the physician's with him, and he says, please bring John Mark to me. He has been useful to me in the ministry. So somewhere in that 20 years,
something happened.
Something happened,
okay.
And he let it go and actually asked him back to serve. Now, we've seen that happen with Reds before, with Trump before, too, where he's dismissed someone and brought him back or gave him another chance or talked to him again. We've seen him do that all the time. So I think once a Red feels respected and starts to rebuild trust, absolutely, they will give you another chance.
Okay, so Reds are very driven, very intentional, very focused. They like facts. They like all of these things. They see themselves as right in everything. Therefore, it can come off as being arrogant.
Until you can, with facts, prove to them.
That almost seems like to be a waste of time. Why do I have to spend time winning the person who barely wants to listen to me?
Well, it's because, the personality difference is we all process information in our brain differently. Mm-hmm. And the way a leader, a Red, a visionary, processes information is through what makes sense, what shows right on paper. How has it been effective before? So they just respond. It's not that they're more stubborn per se. It's like an attorney. I mean, if you feel that your client, the judge needs to let him go or give him his freedom or whatever, win the case, a judge wants you to state cases and give me facts and show me why this is the right idea. Reds are exactly the same.
They seem to be cold. You never see a warm side of them. What's interesting, the reason I say that, when Trump is out pushing his agenda, President Trump, he seems to be very intentional, very bullish, very cold. And yet you see him in a casual social setting and he seems to be warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, I think his second color is my color. Well, look at, I'm going to leave you with this illustration, and this could explain everything.
Yeah, hurry up.
So I was doing work at a credit union one time, and the CEO, I was doing a training for a staff, and the CEO was Red. He said, the smartest thing I've ever heard a leader say to their staff. I want you to understand how I think. I love you as my team, but I want you to understand how I think. If I'm going from office A to office B, I'm on a track like a train. My only goal is office B. So if you come up to me and talk to me why your feelings are hurt by the person in the cubicle next to you, he goes, I'm going to glass over in about 6 seconds. It has nothing to do with you. Don't take it personal. We take a lot of Reds personal. Do not take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. I value you. It's how I process information. My only goal is office B. If you want to talk to me later in the day when I'm not on my track, I will enter your world and hear everything you say. It's how Reds process information. So they may seem cold or they may seem too intense, but they're going somewhere. They're on their track. You get them off their track, very friendly, very kind.
All right. You need to get a hold of Bill, teamworks-works.com. Have him come to your organization to do this thing right here.
I do this stuff in organizations, and I do it with families, too.
Yeah, it's really good. You're wired that way. Red, green, blue, yellow. And hopefully I gave you an insight of a little bit about who's in the White House.
And to kind of calm down, be at peace a little bit. A lot of these Reds actually know what they're doing.
Okay, we're going to go and have a yellow moment.
Take care, Barry.